You posting all night on your snap. You smile, but I know it's all cap. You hit me with a text like, where you at? I really need to see you, baby, bad. Then you sent me a pic.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So what we're going to do is talk about and discuss, not my dog huffing and puffing like she didn't have a long-ass day, but we're going to discuss these Baddies East auditions because I feel like nobody's telling the real, number one. Everybody's capping, number two. And literally everybody's acting like everything was fine and the shit wasn't a shit show. So we really going to discuss these Baddies East auditions because I think I'm the only real bitch left that is really going to tell how them auditions were. So to be fair, I honestly wouldn't even call them auditions. So today is Sunday, technically Monday because it's past midnight. And so technically it's Monday. The auditions were on Friday in Baltimore. So it took me like a couple days to like detox and really like take in what the fuck happened at them damn auditions on Friday. Like it was just so much turmoil, so much like dark demonic energy going on in them auditions that I just had to like really decompress and really like process what the fuck happened at them fucking auditions. So I keep saying air quotes because like the more I stayed there and I realized like what was really going on, the more I realized they was never going to pick anybody in those auditions. They really didn't take them seriously. And it was all just a show for TV. It was all just for TV. It's all for ratings. It's all a game. So first off, let me just start by saying, yeah, I saw there was going to be a Baddies East. I definitely wanted to audition because, hello, I'm a bad bitch. I feel like I was the baddest one at them auditions. But that's just me. Like, I feel like I walk into a room and I bring a different energy. I feel like I'm a goddess. Like, I've seen a whole bunch of Nissan, not to talk down on females, but there's levels to this shit. Like, and you can always elevate to the next level by just elevating yourself. So it's no offense if you're a Nissan bandit, because you can move up in the ranks and become a bad bitch if you just like elevate your mind and elevate your life a little bit. But there was a whole lot of Nissan bandits there. I seen a couple of bad bitches, but I was the only motherfucking goddess in that bitch. But anyway, I wanted to audition for Baddies East because I'm a bad bitch. I feel like everybody is just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So I am different. I was going to go, audition, pop my shit. I'm really a boss. People in my city know me. I'm well known for always hustling. I've had my own company since I was 21 and have supported myself off of that since I was 21. I'm a homeowner. I'm a boss. I'm a homeowner. I'm a boss. I drive a Camaro. I'm a musician. I'm different. And I can meditate in the morning and then I don't mind checking a hoe or smacking a bitch by the afternoon if need be. Like if somebody is really, if somebody is really pressing the issue with me, like it is what it is. Like I'm really a cool, laid back baddie, but what needs to be done needs to be done. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm an audition because I know I'm gonna get picked and I'm a musician. Like it's gonna really take off for me after that. So that was my mindset. So yeah, that was my mindset going in. So boom, I really wanted my best friend to come with me because she's a rapper. She's like my other half, but she was busy. She couldn't make it to the audition. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna still go. But my other friend, she wanted to come because she had, signed up to go or whatever. So we live in Harrisburg, which is 2 hours away from Tysons Corner where the auditions were. So the auditions the link was put out on the Twitter and they let a certain amount of people click on the link and fill out the form to audition. That was the first thing. And they probably closed it like a week after they posted it. And they was like, okay, the forms are closed now, but thank you everybody for signing up. So basically everybody that clicked on that link and signing up, whether you were a bad bitch or not, got registered to come to the auditions. So I understand everybody was excited and stuff, but that was like the first thing that I saw people capping about because like when they finally did send the emails out, everybody was like posting their emails talking about, oh, I got selected to come to auditions. No, everybody that filled out that form, whether you look like Freddy Krueger or whether you look like Beyonce, whether you had 50 kids and live on welfare or whether you're a boss bitch, everybody that filled out that form in time before it closed got the invitation to go to the audition. So that was the first thing I seen people like kind of capping about. But I was like, okay, they're just excited. I'm going to just, let it go. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, how many people did they let sign up for these damn auditions? They just let everybody sign up for these auditions. But fuck it. I'm going to go. I don't care if it's a whole bunch of girls there. I know it's going to be, somewhat organized and I'm going to still stand out. Whatever. I'm not worried about no competition because look at me. I really didn't even mean to say it like that. Like, look at me. But honestly, the way I feel, I just am so in tune with myself and I'm just so at one with myself and I work so hard on myself that I really don't see no competition when it comes to me. And I know when I walk into the room, the frequency changed. So I don't be worried about no other competition. I just knew for a fact that if it's me up against anybody, it's going to be me. That's just how my mind works. So boom, moving on. So my friend and I, we drive down 2 hours to Tysons Corner to the hotel where they're hosting the auditions at. Now, they sent us the email like maybe 3 or 4 days before the audition with the location and the time. They sent us the email personally. And then on top of that, Natalie Nunn posted the information on her Instagram story as well. We're riding there. We hit the road maybe like 8:30 because audition started at 12. Natalie posted on her Instagram the location and everything and the time. So now everybody, even the ones that didn't sign up, people could all see the location and stuff. And so I'm thinking like, that's going to be chaotic. Not everybody knows where the location is. It's going to be everybody pulling up. Like they did that on purpose, low key. But you know what? I'm gonna still go check it out. So when she posted on her story, she's like, everybody arrive early. It starts at noon, but arrive early. So girls really thinking that they're really about to make it on the show and really have a chance. People was camping out since like 6 a.m. when the auditions start at noon. People was camping out and stuff and lining up all morning, waiting for these auditions to start at noon. And so while everybody's camping out and, arriving there, me and my friend, we get there around 11. And that's like a good time or whatever because auditions start at 12. And by 11 already, like it's like 85 degrees this day. There's a line like wraps all the way around the hotel. There's definitely like over 1,000 people in line already, which is cool. Everybody's like drinking, turning up, playing games. It's like black girl magic and a few black transgender magic because it was I'm not shading y'all or whatever, but there was definitely some, you know what? Let me just leave that out because I don't want nobody to come for me for real. Because it's just frivolous. It was just a lot of people in the motherfucking line. Okay. It was they, them, she, everybody was in the motherfucking line. And so far the vibes were good. The vibes were like up a little bit. You know how females are, though. There was a little bit of me mugging, but like overall the vibes were good so far because it was still early. It was 11 o'clock. Everybody's excited for noon for these doors to open. Everybody's excited to see the judges come through. So everybody's kumbaya in a little bit. So the line just keeps getting longer. Line just keeps getting longer. And then so we're just standing there waiting in the heat. And mind you, the email said, bring snacks to eat because you're going to be in line waiting. And we're like, okay, cool. So we bought a little bit of snacks. It starts at noon. It'll probably be over by like 5 or 6. So snacks is cool. So everybody got like a couple of snacks in their bag, you know what I mean? But they definitely got the alcohol for sure. And it's hot, It's just a lot going on. And so we're sitting there waiting in line. And so then time starts passing. So I think like 12 o'clock hits. We're all still excited. We're all just sitting there. Then time starts passing. 1 o'clock hits. Time starts passing. Like 1:30 hits. And now, what we understand we black and late, but now people are starting to get a little bit antsy and anxious. Like, it's 1:30, what's going on? So people was checking like the judges' Instagram stories and stuff. And they was like, yo, Natalie's still at the hotel doing this, or they're out to eat right now, or Krishan's still in the tub, and this is happening. Like, I'm just hearing this stuff because my phone's in my bag. So I'm not worried about checking the stories and all that. I'm just like going with the flow. But everybody's like, yo, these judges ain't even ready yet. So-and-so's on Instagram Live still getting their hair done. And I'm like, okay, these judges ain't showing up no time soon. And they're not in a rush to get here either. So then, like, I'm not sure exactly what time it was, but the line did end up moving like a little bit. Like, they probably let like maybe like 200 or 300 people in the hotel. So the line moved up a little bit. This was probably like 1:30, 2 o'clock, but it was so unorganized and they picked the wimpiest of security guards. I mean, they were scared to look at us. They were scared to tell us what to do. They were scared to do anything. They were just standing around like not knowing what to do. Scary ass security guards. So as soon as the line starts moving, security guards wasn't doing shit. The people from the back of the line, mind you, this is thousands of girls. The people from the back of the line started bum rushing the front of the line to try to squeeze into the hotel to get up to the front. Because we're hot. First of all, people are sweating their laces off. People are starting to get musty. It's hot as fuck. And we got our makeup on. But that was really fucked up and inconsiderate of the girls in the back of the bus trying to come up to the front and be Rosa Parks because they already knew them girls was camping out and shit and being there super early. But everybody was just so thirsty for the opportunity to be on TV that, all morals went out the motherfucking window. So everybody's bum rushing the front. And so at this point, it becomes a mob. And the way these lines are so unorganized. They didn't put any like cones up or any bars up to like define a line. They had like 2 metal detectors set up, but they weren't like, it's a hotel. So they weren't like bound to the ground or anything. They were just like chilling in the middle of these people. And then when everybody started rushing up to the front, it just began to be like a sea of people, like pushing up to the front of the hotel, pushing up around the metal detectors. And it just was all. And it's like at this point, I feel like the alcohol, the hunger, and the heat is playing on everybody's minds. And the time passing and, people being let in. They're thinking like, I don't want to be looking a mess on TV. I'm sweaty. Like when I tell you, edges was popping up, wigs was popping up, makeup was melting off, outfits was sweaty. Like everybody's just desperate to get in there. And by this time, it's probably like 2 o'clock. Mind you, it was supposed to start at noon. And Miss Natalie Nunn posted to get there motherfucking early. So everybody's been out here hot and hungry and just everybody's expecting for this to start already. Mind you, I met somebody from Detroit. I met people from Chicago, New York, met people that were at the West Coast Baddies auditions, met people from all over. So y'all really playing with these people's time that came from all over, that called off of work, that did certain things to get here. And so now here we are with this mob in front of the hotel, a whole bunch of confused security guards. There's like a couple like muscular security guards, but the rest of them just skinny, wimpy, and just scared, don't know what to do. Oh, excuse me. And so once like it clicked in that time was passing and we were just really out here hot and like everybody was just in a mob now and the front of the line is now angry because the back of the line is coming up front and security's not really doing anything to fix it. They really don't care that the back of the line came to the front and they're not enforcing the people in the back to get back to the front. Because it was clear because the people that were on the sidewalk were the people that were in the line first. And then the mob of people that ran from the back, they were covering like the whole lawn of the hotel. So it would have been as simple as the security having backbone and telling all the girls in the grass to get the fuck back in line. But they didn't do that. They were scared as hell. So now what we have here is everybody's pushing up to the front. It becomes like a sardine sea of people, like that episode of SpongeBob when it was all those sardines like smushed in the Krusty Krab. That's exactly what it was. And at this point, that's when it began to become a very hostile and dangerous situation because everybody's just pushed up against each other. And it was at that moment that all these factors started weighing in, that all the fights started breaking out. Like it was at that moment that stuff just began to be chaos. Like all I know is the first fight that kicked it all off that I seen was out of nowhere. Like it was like 3 rounds because the security guards did not know how to properly stop it. At first, everybody was like, is that a man fighting a girl? But no, it ended up just being a really thick dyke, a really tall, thick dyke this big dyke, manly dyke, comes and starts boxing this girl that's in line. I don't know if it was the girlfriend that wasn't supposed to be in the auditions. I don't know if the dyke was in line and they just got into it, but they really start boxing. Like, I'm talking about me, like really fighting like niggas. Like, I never seen girls really fight to the death like niggas. Like, wigs was snatched off in seconds. They was fighting. They was moving so fast. It was like a Tasmanian devil ball. And then what happened, since we were in a sea of people started like low key running. People started pushing. It started to be a stampede situation. And at this point, like, the security had finally gone off on their heads to put up like little metal bars and stuff. So people were starting to run back. People was about to get trampled because the metal bars is getting moved and stuff. It's just a lot of stuff happening. So like, the way I'm explaining it doesn't even like halfway cover how bad it was. And so when the stampede happens, me and my friend, we're still together in line just waiting. But then the stampede happens. I was like, oh, fuck no. That's like one of my worst fears is to get trampled because that was really scary. So, and I had like my purse on me. I'm not about to lose my car keys, my phone, my money for none of y'all bitches. So once the stampede happens, I kind of like move off to the side so I can like, because mind you, the line hasn't moved in hours. The judges are nowhere near even thinking about being at the auditions yet. So I move off to the hill so I can like kind of, recollect. Since it was a stampede, I kind of lost my friend. I wanted to get on the hill, like right above the line. It wasn't far, just to like see where she was. I finally spot her. I'm like, come on, come up here so we can kind of see what's going on. Because this is dangerous. Like, everybody knows this is dangerous. Like, everybody knows what happens in stampede. We all saw the Lion King. We saw what happened to Mufasa. Like, come on, we know what the fuck going on. So yeah, I find her, bring her up from the stampede, and then just so we can, be smart and see how the line is moving, because at this point it's still a mob. So we're watching from the hill. I'm watching more fights take place. It's like that one fight sparked everything. Mind you, in the meantime, all these other Zeus stars are popping up. Like the one dude, I forget his name, but I'm gonna put the video here. I ran into him from Bobby I Love You Purr. He was there. Cash, he was there. And they was all just there at the front, like just making a mockery of everybody, like fighting and stuff. It was just chaos. So anyway, watching from the hill, I finally was like, let's go up here and like stand over here and like squeeze into this line until it starts moving, or like squeeze into the mob this way until it starts moving again. And so we go squeeze over there to stand on the other side of the little mob to try to get into the metal detectors and stuff. So as we're waiting in the mob still, time is still passing. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And time is just passing. And then more fights are just happening. More and more fights are just happening. There had to be at least 10 fights outside, just waiting. And the metal detectors got lifted up and pushed over because like girls were just so angry. Girls were passing out from not eating and then being left in the heat because it's now like 5 o'clock. We expected to already be done with auditions by now. So everything's crazy. And so I remove myself from the little mob again and stand up on a hill, like a little bit further removed from my friend, because at this point stuff is getting sprayed in the air. Stuff is getting sprayed in the air. You can't tell if it's mace or not. People are fighting in the crowd nonstop. And there still continues to be like little stampede threats, like people starting to run a little bit because there's so many fights. The security guards keep threatening, y'all gotta back up, because the mob was so thick. They kept telling everybody to back up from the things so they could get under control, but that wasn't going to work because they were telling the people that were there camping out and shit first to back up so that the people from the back of the line could squeeze in the front, and they wasn't going for that. So everybody just kept squeezing up closer together. So it just really became like a real hostile situation. So boom, I stepped off to the side of the line because I saw nothing was going to move no time soon. And I told my friend, like, come on, back up. Like, this is dangerous. There's too much going on. People start leaving. This girl from New York got on the line. She was like, so I seen a girl get out of line. I seen a lot of girls get out of line and start heading back. And after leaving, I'm asking them like, yo, you leaving? Like, where'd you come from? A girl had caught the train from New York, or caught a bus from like New York to DC, then caught the train, or I got it backwards, caught the train from New York to DC, then caught the bus to where we were. It was a lot of things that people like had did, and they were getting mad. They were like, yo, I caught off of work today. I could have been making money today. I really traveled all this time to come here, and it's just a waste of time like that. And it was at this moment that I was on the hill looking at the mob and looking at all the fights taking place and stuff that I really realized, like, wow, I'm looking at these camera crews. This is really just all for TV. This is really just a show. Y'all brought us here and told us to come here early so we would line up and make a mob and be hungry, be angry, be hot, and be out here fighting. Like, I'm just really like, wow, they just did all this to make a mockery of us for real, because they're not stupid. This is not the first Baddies Auditions. They've been doing this a long time. They've done this a few times. Like, they know exactly what they're doing. They did all this so when the judges pull up, there's going to be a big crowd of people hyped to say hi to them. We're already going to be worked up. We're already going to be fighting and arguing and carrying on, and that's good for the camera. So I already peeped, like, that's kind of what was going on. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna still be positive, and I'm gonna just hang in there for a little bit. So then I realized, like, because people were pushing, like, more people finally got through to go inside the hotel and beat the heat. And mind you, I had stepped back a little bit because it was just like a dangerous situation. And my friend actually ended up like leaving me and kind of squishing through the crowd to go inside the hotel, which was like, so, instead of like, calling me saying like, oh, it's moving, because I couldn't really see her. She kind of like pushed through to the inside of the hotel, which, I wasn't really mad in that moment because I realized, okay, yeah, we drove from Harrisburg, you're trying to get in auditions and stuff, but at least like scream back for me, like, come on, because I really wasn't that far. I was probably like 20 feet from her because I had bad panic attacks. I cannot be in like crowds of people like that. And I wasn't drinking, but I just like ate an edible and everybody else was drunk, so it was just too much for me. But anyway, she got inside. And so I was basically just out there with a mob of angry girls by myself, just kind of like watching, engaging everything. And it was like just the auditions really took a turn from the worst. It was really like really dark energy. Like, I feel like, long story short, we did all that waiting and all that pushing through, all that sweating, all that fighting, all that arguing. And the judges, long story short, did not show up to the auditions until like 9 o'clock, 9:30 p.m. People have been fighting all day. People have been packed like sardines all day. People have been drunk and angry all day at this point, but they're still keeping hope alive because they're hoping that they'll get a chance to be a baddie. But then, like, in my mind, it's really registering that, you know, they put us in this dangerous situation just for TV. And it's like, I can't even explain really how dangerous it was because it can't be put into words. And you know how Travis Scott had that concert where, like, people died in it and people were saying how the energy was real demonic? So anyways, when I finally get pushed through to the inside of the hotel, there's still so many people on the outside. I probably got inside the hotel maybe like around 7 p.m. from being outside. And, okay, maybe like 6 p.m. And so once done being crowded outside, I'm like, dang, finally I make it to this hallway inside the hotel. It's not as crowded. Wrong. They pushed us into another small room. You know how hotels be having like those banquet rooms? This banquet room, they had us registering in there and gave us our little Zeus tags. It probably had like a capacity of like, you know, maybe like 100, 200 people. They squished literally like 500 people wall to wall in that room. So it was just another dangerous situation. It was like literally maybe like 7 rooms straight in the hotel. Big banquet rooms, small banquet rooms, hallways, just small. And so throughout this whole experience of every inch of everywhere in the hotel being packed like sardines, I could not make this up. There's also fights, a new fight every second. And I'm not even exaggerating. It's like the energy from the reality TV shows that we watch. It was like translating in real life because nobody was talking about nothing. It was like as soon as somebody bumped somebody or moved wrong or like did something or tried to squeeze past somebody in line, it was just me. It was no talking. It was literally just fighting. And it was girls that didn't know each other jumping another girl that they didn't know. And it was just a fight every minute. It was really demonic energy. Like somebody really could have lost their life that day. I seen a security guard get his face bust open for trying to break open a fight. It was just bad. It was just so bad. It was so bad. And I personally, I did not record any videos. If I would have known my experience was going to be so bad, I would have made sure to keep my phone on my wrist and record more. But I kept my phone in my bag, everything in my bag and zippered up because it was so tight in every area that I could not even bring my arms up to bring my purse up. And so I wasn't about to keep going in and out my bag for my phone, knowing that I was squished. And so I was just going to keep it in there secure with my car key so I didn't lose shit just in case I had to fight. Because it was just a real hostile situation. Like my friend left me. I could have got jumped. I could have got into a fight with somebody and I could have lost my whole bag. Nobody would have ever known. So I was just keeping everything tucked away just in case anything happened. I had my sneakers in my hand and I had my bag in my hand. So, yeah, I didn't get to record none of it. But then when we were squished in this one room, the girls that I was talking to and I was cool with for that second. So, yeah, the girls, I was like, basically, you know how you see a girl in line and just because y'all next to each other, y'all, you know, you kick it or whatever. So there was a girl who squeezed to the front of the line and she was being weird, talking about, I'm Krishan's sister. So I'm coming to the front of the line. And it was really just, we were squished in the registration room for about 2 hours or so. And then it was a door to the next room, next huge banquet room packed with another 1,000 girls. So she was pushing to that door to try to get past security to the other, whatever. So something happened where she started arguing with the girls I was standing with, and she put her leg up on the one girl's shoulder, and it was just automatically, they started jumping her. And it was just like no talking about nothing. It was just, you just start fighting. And so here's the video. They start getting into it. I'm not even the one who recorded this because my phone was in my bag. I wasn't losing my shit for nobody. And so I stepped off because I know a dangerous situation when I see one. Like, it was too many fucking people in there to be as many fights as there was. And as every minute was passing, they kept letting more people squeeze up in that conference room. And I'm claustrophobic. Like, I can't do it. So once they started fighting, I moved back immediately. And then once the fight was over, people got dragged out or whatever, I came back up and the girl who actually recorded it airdropped it to me. Just craziness. Imagine that times 1,000. There had to be like over 200 fights nonstop that day. And I'm really not exaggerating. It was literally the darkest energy I had ever been in my life because people were drinking. It was just the desperateness of it all. The want to be on. And if you really peep in the back of the video, you can see the door to the other room I'm talking about. You can see how crowded it was in that room. And that was the biggest room there was. So imagine all the other smaller rooms, how packed it was. And at this time, there were still hundreds of other girls on the outside of the hotel too, waiting to get in. And it's already dark outside. And they've been out there since 6 a.m. some of them, because the back of the line came to the front. Just all bad. Hostile situation. Just fights. No talking about nothing. Just fights. Girls really like trying to kill girls they don't even know over like one wrong word or just terrible shit. Because that's what they do on these reality TV shows. So anyways, judges start trickling in. Like, we start seeing the judges at nighttime, like around 8 or 9, they trickle in. But everybody's confused because there's all these thousands of girls everywhere and it's nighttime. And judges start arriving. Everybody's confused because it's now 9, 10 o'clock p.m. They got to be at the club by like midnight, 1 a.m. because they're promoting all these after parties. The judges are promoting all these after parties. Like, how y'all going to get through all these thousands of girls? And you wasted all that time this long. It's now 9, 10 p.m. Y'all got to be at the club at least by this time. So how is that going to work? It's not going to work. So now everything gets even more violent, even more fights, because now everybody's going to fight for that spot to get in front of the judges, to get to that front spot. So it just becomes really evil. And yeah, I was you know what? I'm gonna just leave out what happened with my friend because it's just too much to add on to that. So, well, long story short, there was outside, there was inside a line, and then there was a banquet room to register. That was the packed banquet room where the fight happened. And then there was a big banquet room where there was a whole bunch of other girls waiting to actually get into the smaller banquet rooms where the judges were going to be in. So there's just all these different rooms just packed, every inch packed with girls. So when I was in the big banquet room waiting to trickle into one of the smaller rooms, my friend was already in one of the smaller rooms. So I kept hitting her up like, yo, security's not letting me through this door. Come tell them you're my friend so they'll let me through, because they didn't want friends to get separated. The security did not want friends to get separated because they saw how dangerous it was. My friend is taking forever to text me back. She's saying she's trying to come see me, but she don't see me, which I don't believe that. I don't know. Long story short, my friend was acting weird because she was already in the room thinking she was going to see the judges. And so I don't think she really wanted to sacrifice. So at this point, after like an hour or so trying to meet up with her, it was frivolous. I kind of just accepted the fact that she don't give a fuck about meeting up with me for real. So I just kind of, do my own thing, just stay out the way, like, just stay under the radar. It's just too much going on. I don't got time to be messing up my face for these bitches that I don't know, I don't care about, I'm never going to see again in life. Like, how dumb is that to get jumped at the Baddies auditions, get your face leaked, how dumb is that to get into a fight at the Baddies auditions, hurt yourself, fuck up your face for these girls that you don't even know, fighting over nothing? Like, that's fucking retarded to me. So I'm just like staying under the radar. I finally get moved into a room waiting for the judges. And so then it just so happened to be that the room I was in was the first room that the judges came in. I see Natalie come in first, and then in came Scotty, Rolly, Low London, Biggie. So they trickle in the room. I think I named them all. Biggie, Rolly, Scotty, Low London, Miss Cat. Natalie came through for a little bit. So they ended up coming in my room first. At this point, it's like 10:30, 10:43. And this room is packed with girls. It's like a smaller banquet room. The door is closed, but on the outside of the doors, it's chaos because everybody's packed in here. You can hear fights. The fights are so bad that they're breaking into the banquet room that I'm in. The banquet room that we're all in, the security's trying to push them back out. At the same time, the security inside the room that we're in, they're breaking up fights. There had to be like 10 different fights that broke out in there. And the judges are yelling, telling girls to be quiet. The production is yelling, telling girls to be quiet because they're trying to record Tokyo Tony, Black China's mom, upstairs, and has to be completely quiet because it's a TV show. But it's just not going to work because everybody's in survival mode basically at this point, because you got like 200 girls in this small ass banquet room already fighting each other, rumbling each other. You got like thousands of girls on the outside of this door trying to get in, which is definitely a very dangerous situation because they are literally fighting so hard that it's breaking through the doors. Security is getting beat up. Just everything's going wrong. Girls are pushing to the front to get to the judges. It's just as chaotic as it's been all day, but on crack, because now it's like everybody's kicked into survival mode because everybody's so thirsty to get on TV, and the judges are only in this room. It's mad late. It's becoming reality to everybody that they're not even going to see 1/3 of these girls. They really don't give a fuck. And it's becoming real to everybody that they're not going to get seen. And it's really all for TV. It's really just a... So everybody's yelling and screaming. And then the girls are yelling, talking about, y'all need to shut the fuck up. Y'all don't want to get to a bag. Y'all don't want to do this. Y'all don't want to do that. Y'all are pushing your... It was just terrible. Everybody's turning against each other. And then the judges start yelling and gaslighting us. Rolly gets up, starts yelling, talk about, y'all, I got to catch a flight in the morning. I don't want to hear nothing about y'all tired and this and that. Like, it was just weird because they knew that they took forever to get here. Had them motherfucking judges been there at noon when they said it was going to start, we wouldn't even have been in this predicament. But they knew what they was doing. They knew that all that was TV. They wanted us riled up and stuff for TV. They knew they never had any intentions on picking new girls or really giving anybody a fair chance. So then what starts happening, they start telling people to do whatever they want in front of the judges. This is TV, act crazy, do whatever you want. And so people start saying their name and stuff and why they're a baddie. And they were just picking all the loud, ratchet girls who were like entertainment for TV, whether they were a boss or not, which most of them were not. They just started picking like a couple little ratchet girls. They probably got through like 1/3 of our room. And then Rolly gets up because somebody tried to fight her. I think somebody also tried to fight Biggie. Somebody punched the security guard, and the security guard picked up scissors and was about to cut the girl, but the other security guard stopped them. It was just all bad. And at this point, I'm about to faint because it's literally like 11 p.m. and I didn't eat since I had like a couple snacks, but then in the stampede, all my snacks dropped and my bottles of water. So it was just all bad. My ass was about to pass out. It probably took them like an hour to get through just like 30 people in that room, like asking them, what's your name? Are you a baddie? Yes or no? Next. No. Yeah, I knew they wasn't getting through that whole room that I was in, let alone all the thousands of girls up there. So then what started happening is, this was just the little stage. They had to get people to the main stage to see Tokyo Tony, Krishan, Natalie Nunn, and Ruby Rose or whatever. So they just started giving random people on the outside of our room pink passes because they couldn't just let the night finish off. It's like almost midnight now. They couldn't let the night finish off with them giving people pink passes to get to the main stage to where Tokyo Tony and all them are. So then they just started picking random people that didn't even go through the first set of judges to go to the big stage. It don't even make sense. It really didn't make sense, but that was their plan all along. They was going to get there late on purpose and get to the club when they needed to get to the club and just get through a few people on the small stage, enough for TV, enough to make it ha ha he he funny when they post the episode and pick like random people to go up on the main stage to make it funny for TV too. They never had no intentions on picking us. And then in the meantime, my friends in the other room thinking she was going to see the judges before me, but the judges ended up coming in my room. It was just ass backwards because she was supposedly in the VIP room. It was ass backwards. Everything was weird. But she texted me and said, hey, security said that they already had the girls already picked out that they were choosing even before these auditions. So I'm about to just head back to the car because I'm hungry. I have a headache, all this and that. This is like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, you know what? I stood here and waited all day. And I'm hungry and I'm tired and I'm like delirious and I'm like and put myself in an unsafe situation all day. Not just for me to leave as soon as the judges got there. Like I understand that this is all for TV now and I'm irritated, but I'm gonna at least get to the front of the line and see the judges and then bounce. So anyways, by the time I got to the front of the line in the room, Rolly had just left because she had just fought somebody. Somebody tried to fight Miss Cat. So everybody was frustrated and yelling, but Rolly and Biggie had left. So by the time I got up to the line, it was only Scotty, Low London, and Miss Cat sitting there up front. And so there was like 5 of us at a time up there saying your name and why you're a baddie. The first girl, yeah, I'm a baddie because I do this and I do that. Okay, go to the main stage. The second girl was talking about I'm broke as fuck because I'm a student. Next. And then it was my turn. And at the same time. And so I'm like, they're still yelling all behind me. They can't get everybody to be quiet. It's just so much going on mentally. My energy is drained from just being around all this negative, terrible energy all day, being around all this fighting. I'm literally been shaken since like 6 p.m. because I didn't eat nothing. Like, it's just too much going on. But like when it was my turn, I still stood there and as drained as I was, still said what I was going to say. I was like, hey, my name is Hoya. I'm from Harrisburg, PA. And then there was like a security guard walking in front of me and it was just mad loud. And I was just like distracted. I was like, well, is this security guard going to move? Like it was so much stuff going on in my head. And so Miss Cat was like, all right, keep talking. I was like, yeah, I'm from Harrisburg, PA. I have my own business. I've been supporting myself since I've been 21. And then Miss Cat just says, next. And I'm like, I just look at her like, and then what Scotty was like, and Scotty was like, you're so beautiful though. Thank you. No, that's what Kat said. When she didn't say next. She said, thank you. Go ahead. Like, go ahead. Like, you didn't get to the main stage type thing. She was like, thank you. You're very beautiful, but thank you. That's what she did. And Scotty looked at me. She was like, you are very beautiful. And I just walked off like, I just knew what was going on. Like, y'all wasn't looking for the boss bitches. Y'all were literally just looking for ratchet bitches who was good for TV in that moment because, like I said, you already knew who y'all was picking before the auditions. Y'all weren't going to pick anybody that was there. And y'all weren't looking for the real bosses. Y'all didn't care how far people traveled, who passed out, who was hurt, who was bleeding, who was leaking, how many people that y'all fucked over this day. Y'all wasn't picking the boss bitches. Y'all was just picking whatever was good for TV. Y'all just needed that for the whole audition to look. And y'all really weren't going to pick nobody. So at this point, I was honestly just happy just to get the fuck out the auditions to go get some food. And so I walked out that door and I wasn't even mad at it. I was just like, wow. Like everything just started processing. I wasn't even mad at it. I was like, wow. And I just walked out into the hallway and immediately it was just a million fights all around me. Like just fights. Everybody trying to get into this room with the judges. It was just chaos at 11:30 at night. Maybe it's midnight by this time, but just chaos. Fights everywhere. And so I like worked my way through the crowd, through the fights to finally get to the exit of the hotel, only to find out that the security is blocking off both sets of double doors because it's girls in there running and fighting. Like girls in there really fighting like niggas, like wigs snatched off, like being choked out by security. They talking about get off me before she sneak me. Like, and so finally, after like 10 minutes, they cleared up the fight and let me go out the exit. And I finally got to my car and I was just like irritated the whole ride home. My friend was already waiting at the car for me. I wasn't fucking with the being separated thing because it was just that's girl rule number one. It don't matter where you at, who you came with, you stay with because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And that was easily the most dangerous situation I had ever been placed in my life. And I lived through a lot of things, but that was a dangerous ass situation. So I wasn't feeling the fact that I was without who rode up with me because it was just it was frivolous. Like you don't leave somebody in that type of situation. There's like no excuse for that. And so I was just like drained the whole ride home and just really processing everything and just taking it in as to really what just happened, that everybody that came to the auditions were used. And mind you, in the room that I was in, it took them like 2 hours to get through half of us. I probably was the halfway mark of girls that was in that room. And then I walked out. That was only a room full of like 200 people. There was thousands of girls there. And so by like 12, when I walked out, they were only halfway through that one room. And so they had to be at the club by 1 o'clock. I knew they wasn't even finishing getting through the 200 girls that was in the room that I was in. So I was like, what about the other thousands of girls that came here for no reason? Because I know you ain't getting through. So anyway, got out to my car, drove home. By the time I get home, it's like 1:30 a.m. 1:30 a.m. I checked the judges' stories. They out in the club already. So I'm like, oh, I knew y'all wasn't going to see none of them females that showed up and y'all wasn't serious about that because... And honestly, not to like rain on nobody's parade or like downplay nobody, but I seen a lot of girls from the city, from not from the city, from other places too, that were like showing the pink slips. Like, hey, I didn't even have to say anything. I made it to like the big stage. I didn't have to say nothing. I got the pink slip. That is because they didn't have no plan on. They didn't. Come on now. You didn't have to go through the first stage because they never intended on everybody going through that first stage. It was for TV. They just needed to fill out a certain amount of girls to go through the little judges, record enough of those to be like, okay, cool, we got the shot. And then we're going to hand these people, so a few people just random pink slips so we could go to the big judges and get enough for the camera time and be like, okay, we got the shot. Now that's good enough. It wasn't no, and then on top of that, when I finally did leave the hotel, there was still a line of females, at least 100, 150 deep more, waiting outside to still get into the auditions at like 11:30 midnight. And so it's just, it is adding up now, but it's not, because why did y'all let all this happen just for the sake of TV? Like, I don't know, that it was just messed up to sell people dreams like that. Me, I wasn't that worried about it, but then other people driving from Detroit, New York, Chicago, flying in, taking off of work, getting babysitters, getting beat up, coming there just to get jumped and beat up and leave with broken noses and bloody faces. Like, when I tell you they were boxing, that was dangerous. Like, that was crazy. So as I came home and I just detoxed from all the weird energy and all the weird things that transpired, I really just had to soak it in what really happened. Number one, I was appalled that grown women can stand there and condone something like that. Like, I'm talking about the girls who are actually on the show. Like, they know what's going on. They see how hectic and how demonic like things got in there, and how many fights there was, and how many girls were hurt, and how dangerous it was. And they still sit there and let this happen every season. And they're cool with allowing all these thousands of people to register, knowing they're going to come from all over and not be seen, just for the sake of television, just for the sake of being able to humiliate people on TV. And, they know that most of them are not going to get seen. Like, you know what? I give Krishan a pass because she's young. She's like 21, 22. But Natalie Nunn being like 39, 40, standing for this type of energy, this type of ugliness, this type of evilness, standing for that and standing for misleading all these females into thinking they actually had a chance to be a baddie, standing for putting all these people in danger, standing for allowing your culture of just fighting and not talking and all that to just manifest into people's real lives. And so when they come to these auditions, they really manifest and conjure up that energy of just fighting and no talking, to the point where there's fights out of control. You couldn't walk 2 inches without seeing a fight. All y'all judges seen all those fights and how crazy it was when y'all walk in. All the judges seen how there was fights busting through the doors. All them
She real out here, y'all. She real. She real out here, y'all.
security guards were getting fucked up. Like, nobody's clueless to what's going on. Everybody feels that heavy ass devil energy. Even the judges were fighting. Like, it was just bad. Everybody knew what was going on. So to me, like, the grown women in there, like the judges 26 and up, Kat, 30 something, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Kat used to come to Harrisburg and host events when I was too young to drink. So she's been in this for a while. Like, it's just like, how do you stand for something so evil, for real? Like, that whole thing just don't sit right with me, from selling people dreams to wasting their time to allowing them to get beat up. Like, that shit is just evil, for real. And you know for a fact you have no intentions on hiring none of these girls. And what I just came to realize is a lot of females are really just in a very, 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 very dark place, and like a very heavy place. And like, that energy was being conjured up because of those dark spaces, because of watching too much reality TV, and because of the drinking, honestly. So it's like I was there, but at the same time I wasn't there, because it was like I felt like I was standing on top of a cliff looking down at everybody and just watching like all the fights and stuff happen, because mentally I was just on a different energy level. Like, I was like, wow, I'm really in this deep dark place, like just surrounded by all these people who are just in these deep dark low places within themselves, trying so desperately to get on TV. Like, and then I was just thinking about, like, damn, like, I don't understand how somebody like me, looking at it, being 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, up to the oldest one, who was Natalie Nunn, it blows my mind the more that I dissect it. And I think about like how y'all sit there and watch Krishan, who is way younger than you. Like, if you're 20, 21, 22, 23, you're not going to really understand what I'm saying until you're older, until you're 28, until you're 29, until you're 30, but I would never sit there and call somebody my little sister, and at the same time be watching so many fake people around her, be watching how toxic her relationship is, and I'm still just like cheering it on, like, yeah. Like, it's just like you use her for TV. Like, you use her because she's so young. Like, if that was my little sister, like, as you claim, like, every minute, even on the Baddies show, I would be like talking to her, like, you know, even if I'm not saying like break up with your boyfriend, to be like giving her positive advice, like positive things. Like, they really just sit there and condone all her drink, and they condone all her craziness. They condone her fighting people. They push her to do certain things. And it's just like, y'all don't love that girl at all. Like, there's no way I would be like big sis sitting there allowing her, condoning, co-signing her doing all these things without me loving on her, without me showing her, like, you know, the ropes, for real. And you know what? I'm not even going to make it seem like it's all about Krishan, because it's not. It's just like a test of their character in general. Like, they are so absorbed into that culture and so deep in it that it really bleeds through their character, who they really are. And they would sacrifice anybody, everything, and anything just for the sake of TV and just for the sake of money. And like the dude, Lumel Plumer or whatever, who is the head of the network, the head of the Zeus network, he was there in those auditions, and he had like his skinny ass, he's so tiny, he's like a little stick. He had like 6 big ass security guards like escorting him through the crowd of people. Like, one of them elbowed me in the chest trying to get through. Like, they were just pushing bitches out the way just to get him through. And I don't know, it was just mad weird. It was just like, you just felt the evilness. Like, how do y'all grown ass people stand for black women tearing each other down like this? And for TV, the Zeus network and Natalie Nunn and everybody else on the staff, they're not afraid to sacrifice Krishan. They're not afraid to sacrifice all of the girls that were at the audition. They're not afraid to take advantage of anything they need to for views. And they're not afraid to stage anything any way they need to for anything. Like, they do not feel bad about having all them thousands of girls out there in those dangerous ass conditions, from the heat to the passing out to the fights to the not having food to misleading us thinking it was going to start at noon. Like, if they were really serious about them auditions and serious about picking girls out, they would have had their asses there at noon. You got to call a thing a thing. They're not serious about shit getting there and starting the auditions at 9:30, 10 p.m. after you had girls staying out there all day, knowing that you're not even going to get through 1/3 of them girls in that amount of time. They didn't give a fuck about none of that. And then, like, if you really be honest with yourself and watch the previous auditions from Baddies West, they auditioned all them girls, and only Razor, Biggie, and Stunna made it. And for real, Stunna was already known because she had that big ass song. So was that real or was it staged? Who knows? But anyway, you knew out of all them people, they were only picking like 1 to 3 people picking. But I honestly feel like they weren't going to really pick anybody. I feel like they already had the people pre-picked. So I don't know. If they do pick anybody, the bottom line is it wasn't a fair chance. They had no intentions on giving everybody a fair chance. Because if they did, they would have got there on time and not used everybody. So yeah, I just would not recommend anybody trying out for that Baddies. Because it's like, so yeah, I just don't recommend anybody wasting their time or putting themselves in a predicament to go to audition for anything on the Zeus network, anything like that. Because honestly, if they were serious, they would have never let that many people register. They would have been more selective about who they let register. They would have been there at noon at their respective judges' tables to get everybody a fair chance and get everybody through to the table, everybody through to the next round who needed to be. They wouldn't have made people act like savages against each other and only gave them 5 seconds to speak as to why they're a baddie after they just stood there hungry, hot, and irritated all day and survived through all them fights. And then you just going to give them like 3 seconds to explain themselves and then be like, next. Like, they just weren't serious about anything at all. It was literally all for TV. And I do not recommend anybody trying out for that. And yeah, don't allow yourself to be used, and don't fall for it. It's definitely a hoax. It's a setup. And yeah, if you're a baddie, you're a baddie. You don't need a TV show to prove that. You don't have to fight to prove that. You don't have to lower your worth or your morals or your standards to prove that. And if you're stuck in that lower level energy, I pray that the people that are, especially the young girls who don't realize it, like Krishan, she really doesn't realize how bad these people are using her because she's so young. But when she gets to be older, she will look back and realize like how toxic these people are. And now that she's made it, she just needs to like separate herself as far as possible. But when you're like so stuck in it, you're just blind to it. But when you start to see things, you start to oversee it and you start to understand what was going on. And that's the beauty about life. But yeah, I just don't recommend